Have you ever noticed that some people only remember the worst moments of your past? Even though you have changed, grown, and overcome many challenges, they keep pulling you back to an old version of yourself, the one who was once weak, failed, or lost control. When they mention your past, they do not acknowledge your growth or your journey of healing. They only repeat the moments where you struggled, as if trying to reopen wounds that have already healed or the chains you broke long ago. Imagine a scar that is just healed and someone lightly scratches it to see if it still hurts. Or the chains you broke long ago, but someone quietly gathers them to wrap around your ankle. When they drag your past into the present, it is no longer about you. It is about them and their pain, guilt, jealousy, or the unhealed parts within themselves. Your growth and transformation become a mirror reflecting everything they have not resolved. In the moment they pull your past into the present, you have two choices. You can react and defend your old self, or you can step forward in your new self, the one who has already surpassed old limits, knows your worth, and refuses to be defined by the past. When you choose growth instead of guilt, discomfort begins to rise. Yet this choice is what helps you stand firm, maintain your inner power, and prevent anyone from manipulating you through an outdated version of yourself. In this video, we will explore why some people always bring your past into the present and how to apply Stoic philosophy to stay calm, in control, and strong within when facing these behaviors. Let us begin. First, they have not healed their emotional wounds. Let us talk about one of the most common behaviors you will encounter. These are the people who constantly bring up your past, the mistakes you once made, the failures, or the moments of weakness you are not proud of. And even though you have grown, learned, and overcome, they keep you stuck in an old version of yourself. They do not see your progress, do not acknowledge your healing journey, and do not recognize your current value. What is important to understand is that when someone repeatedly drags your past into the present, it is usually not about you, but about themselves. These people have not healed. They carry hurt, envy, guilt, unresolved pain, and deep insecurity. Your growth becomes a mirror that exposes everything they have not overcome. When you move forward with strength and confidence, they feel threatened by your progress. Instead of confronting their own pain, they push it outward by pulling you back into the past. Imagine an emotional wound that is just healed and someone suddenly scratches it to see if it still hurts. This feeling is familiar for many people when they encounter those who have not healed their pain. They bring up moments when you were once vulnerable, as if they want to check whether you are still sensitive or weak like before. When you feel discomfort, anxiety, or self-blame, that is exactly their intention. They want you to cling to your old version so they do not have to face themselves. A real example is Illa, someone I know. In her 20s, she went through many difficulties, toxic relationships, poor decisions, and countless experiences she was not proud of. But Illa worked hard to change, went to therapy, rebuilt her life, and found peace in her new self. However, every time she met a childhood friend, that person brought up the worst moments. Remember when you used to be like that? Or, wow, I did not think you would ever rebuild your life. Those words sounded harmless, but they shook her and made her feel pulled back into the past. After a while, Illa realized that this friend did not want to reconnect or acknowledge her growth. They only wanted her to be tied to her old self so they could feel safe, because her progress forced them to face their own pain and limitations. When Illa realized this, she stopped reacting emotionally, stopped explaining or defending herself, and stepped forward confidently in her new self. Her calmness and firm boundaries helped her maintain strength and control, making the reminders of her past lose all power. Stoic wisdom teaches that you cannot control the behavior of others, but you can always control your response. Seneca once said, "Those who cling to their pain cannot move forward." When someone drags your past into the present, remember that it is their issue, not yours. Hold your values, stay calm, and focus on your own journey. When you refuse to be pulled into the drama, you keep your power and move forward without being tied to the unresolved pain of others. Second, when they realize you are no longer easy to manipulate, they use your past as a tool to control you. Let us begin with the reality that people who constantly bring up your mistakes failures, or old versions of yourself do not do it to remind you or help you learn. Their goal is to make you feel weak, small, or guilty so you become easier to control. They know you have grown and changed, but your progress makes them uncomfortable, so they pull you back to an older version where you are easier for them to manipulate. This tactic is not always obvious. They often use gentle remarks, vague comments, or subtle hints that make you question your ability, your judgment, and your worth. When you react emotionally, they achieve their goal. You lose confidence, doubt yourself, and become easier to influence. This is how they maintain psychological power, making you feel you must prove yourself, explain yourself, or seek permission to be accepted. A real example is Jason, someone I know. In the past, he made several mistakes in personal decisions and work. Over time, he changed, grew, and built a new career. However, every time he met a family member, they brought up his past mistakes with the intention of control. Remember how you used to be? Be careful this time. At first, Jason felt guilty and blamed himself. But he realized they did not care about him. They were using his past to manipulate his emotions and behavior. Stoic philosophy reminds you that you do not need to let others define your worth through your past. Epictetus once said, "Do not surrender your inner peace to the judgment of others." When someone uses your past to control you, recognize the tactic, keep your boundaries, protect your peace, and continue walking in your present version, strong and self-directed. When you do not react emotionally, their power disappears and you remain fully in control of yourself. Third, one of the deeper reasons why others keep dragging your past into the present is that they fear your growth. Let us begin with the reality that when you change, improve, and become a stronger version of yourself, it reflects everything they have not resolved within themselves. Your growth becomes a mirror showing their limits, their pain, and their stagnation. And instead of facing it, they try to pull you back to your old version where they feel safe and do not have to change. This tactic is subtle and often appears in the form of reminders about your past, vague comments, or questions that seem harmless but are filled with implication. Remember when you used to be like this? You must still be the same now, right? Or do not forget how you failed before. The purpose is not to help you learn. It is to make you doubt yourself, create mental pressure, and pull you back to an older version they can control. When you react emotionally, they achieve their goal. You lose confidence and become easier to manipulate. A real example is Eric, someone I know. He once made some mistakes in the past, but grew, built a stable career, and created an independent life. However, when he met certain old friends, they always brought up those old mistakes as a way to test his growth. At first, Eric felt confused and wanted to explain, but he realized that his growth made them feel insecure. They wanted to keep him in the past so they could feel safe because they could not face his progress. Stoic philosophy reminds us that your growth is your power and does not depend on anyone else. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Those who search for your past fear your present power." When you recognize this, you do not need to justify or defend anything. Stay calm, maintain your boundaries, and walk confidently in your present version. When you do not react emotionally, their power loses its effect, and you are free within your growth and your inner strength. Fourth, when you change, grow, and step into a stronger version of yourself, some people will refuse to accept it. Let us begin with a reality that they do not want to see your development, because your growth forces them to change how they view you and even how they view themselves. They want you to remain the old version, predictable, easy to manipulate, and comfortable for their emotional safety. When you step outside that frame, they feel threatened and try to hold you inside an outdated image. This tactic often appears subtly and repeatedly. They speak to you as if you have not changed, bring up old habits or past mistakes, and treat you based on the version they are familiar with. Their words, gestures, or seemingly harmless comments are actually attempts to drag you back to your old place. They try to keep you boxed in within a past that feels safe for them, not because they care about you, but because they do not want to face your growth and your new strength. A clear example is Emily, someone I know, who spent many years working on herself. She overcame negative emotions, escaped toxic relationships, and built an independent, strong, and meaningful life. When she met old friends again, they still reminded her of past mistakes. Remember how you used to be, and what about now? Or, I never thought you would stabilize your life. These reminders were not meant to evaluate her growth. They were meant to make her feel small and pull her back to the old image they were comfortable with. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that you are not bound by the judgments of others. Epictetus once said, "You are not held back by those who fail to recognize your growth. When they refuse to accept your new version, that is their issue, not yours." Your growth and your value do not depend on whether they acknowledge them or not. Responding with Stoic wisdom means recognizing this behavior, staying calm, and maintaining your boundaries. You do not need to prove anything, explain anything, or try to make them accept you. You only need to live as your present self, uphold your integrity, and continue moving forward on your path of growth. When you remain steady, they no longer have the ability to manipulate you or pull you back. Your strength, calmness, and firmness will expose their insecurity and stubbornness. When you understand that your growth belongs to you alone, you no longer need the approval of those who try to keep you tied to your old version. You protect your peace, your inner power, and walk confidently and steadily in the strong version you have become. Fifth, one of the clearest signs that someone does not truly care about you is that they do not respect the journey you have walked through. Let us begin by understanding the issue. They do not see your progress, your growth, or the effort you have made to change. They only emphasize old mistakes, failures you once experienced, and treat them as your identity regardless of what you have learned and overcome. Every step of growth and every right decision you make is devalued in their eyes, and this can make you feel tired, annoyed, or doubtful of yourself. This tactic often appears through seemingly harmless comments. "Remember when you used to be like this?" Or, "After everything, do you really think you are better now?" These words are not meant to help you reflect on the past to learn from it. They are meant to create the feeling that you are not good enough, not trustworthy, or not truly changed. Their goal is to keep you small, easy to control, and force you to constantly prove that you have improved. This is how they keep power in their hands, making you live by their standards instead of confidently walking your own path. A real example is Sarah, someone I know. She went through many difficulties in her youth, made mistakes, and lost direction. Over time, she learned, grew, and built a stable and independent life. However, whenever she met certain old acquaintances, they repeated her past mistakes as if she was still the same version. They did not acknowledge her effort, did not see her change, and constantly pulled her back to a past that made them feel safe. This feeling was both uncomfortable and heavy, forcing her to stay calm and firm so she would not be drawn into meaningless comparisons. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that you are not bound by how others view your journey. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Judge a person not by their past, but by the direction they are heading." When someone does not respect your journey, that is their issue, not yours. Your growth and your value do not depend on their recognition. Responding with Stoic wisdom means recognizing this behavior, staying calm, and keeping your boundaries. You do not need to prove or explain anything. Continue walking your own path, living as your present self, and honoring the values you have built. When you maintain integrity and remain firm in your actions, they lose the power to manipulate you. Real strength comes from within, and when you hold on to it, any judgment about your past becomes meaningless. Remember that your journey belongs to you, and anyone who refuses to acknowledge it has no authority to define you. By keeping your confidence, your boundaries, and your inner values, you protect your peace and move forward freely without being pulled back by the past or by the judgment of others. Sixth, one of the most subtle yet dangerous tactics you will encounter is when they try to keep you stuck in the past. Let us begin with the reality that they're constant reminders of your mistakes, failures, or old versions of yourself are not meant to help or show concern. They are meant to create an emotional chain that keeps you from moving forward. When you are still tied to old mistakes, you start doubting yourself, hesitating in decisions, and becoming easier to manipulate by them or by the guilt they create. This tactic is subtle because they usually do not criticize you openly. Instead, they bring the past into the present indirectly. They bring up old mistakes in conversation, make vague suggestions, or offer comments that seem harmless but are enough to make you feel guilty. When you react emotionally, they achieve their goal. You begin to live in the old version of yourself, tied to what is past, instead of stepping forward in your stronger and more self-directed present self. A clear example is Daniel, someone I know, who once made a few mistakes in the past. He learned, grew, and built a new career in life. However, Daniel's older brother frequently brought up those old mistakes. "You still have not gotten over that, have you?" Or, "Last time you did that, it was even worse." At first, Daniel felt uncomfortable, confused, and blamed himself. But he soon realized this was not his issue. It was a way for someone else to keep him stuck so they would not have to face his progress. Stoic philosophy teaches that you do not have to carry chains that do not belong to you. Epictetus said, "Do not carry guilt that is not yours." When the past is used to hold you down, you must recognize it and separate that feeling from yourself. It does not reflect your value, your ability, or your present growth. Responding with Stoic wisdom means recognizing the tactic, keeping your boundaries, and focusing on your present journey. Do not try to explain or prove that you have changed. No one has the right to keep you locked in an old version of yourself. The past is only one chapter, not the entire story. When you stand firm, they lose the ability to manipulate you. Your growth, confidence, and consistent actions become a strong shield against any attempt to pull you back. When you release the chains of the past and keep your focus on your present self, you become free. You are no longer affected by reminders or expectations imposed by others. You move forward with confidence, protect your value, and maintain your inner peace. And this inner strength is exactly what Stoic philosophy emphasizes. The past becomes only a lesson, and you are the one who controls your future. Seventh, one of the most subtle tactics you will encounter is when they test your emotional weak points. Let us begin with the reality that when someone repeatedly drags your past into the present, they are not reminding you or caring about you. They are searching for emotional weak spots to test whether you are still sensitive, self-blaming, or feeling guilty. When they find a weakness, they can use it to manipulate you, make you doubt yourself, and pull you back to an old version of yourself. This tactic usually appears in comments that seem harmless, but are designed to challenge you. A light remark about the past, a joking hint, or a vague suggestion. The goal is to make you react, doubt yourself, or explain your past, which gives them a sense of control. When you react emotionally, they achieve their goal. You are pulled back and temporarily lose your calmness and inner strength. A real example is Alex, someone I know. In the past, he was easily angered, impulsive, and quick to react. After many years of personal work, therapy, and self-discipline, he built emotional control, calmness, and self-management. However, an old friend occasionally brought up his past behavior. "Remember when you used to react like this? I am sure you are still the same now, right?" At first, Alex felt irritated and wanted to react to prove he had changed. But he realized this was a test, a way for the other person to check whether he was still sensitive or could be pulled back to his old version. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that real power lies in the ability to control yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The person who cannot be provoked holds the highest power." When you recognize this behavior, you can stay calm, refuse to react emotionally, and protect your inner value. The important point is understanding that the test is not a threat, but an opportunity to measure your growth and stability. Responding with Stoic wisdom means recognizing the tactic, staying calm, keeping boundaries, and refusing to explain or justify your past. When you cannot be provoked, you hold the power, and their test becomes meaningless. Your calmness, steadiness, and confidence will expose the truth about the person testing you. They no longer control you. When you stand firm and do not react emotionally, your inner strength becomes a shield that protects you from every subtle tactic. They are left powerless when they realize you have risen above your past and maintain your peace and self-control. This is the true power that Stoic philosophy teaches. Calmness and self-mastery are things no one can take from you, regardless of your past or anyone's hidden tactics. Looking back at all the behaviors people use when they drag your past into the present, you will notice one important truth. They only have power if you give it to them. When they repeatedly mention your mistakes, failures, or old versions of yourself, their goal is to pull you back, make you doubt yourself, and make you easier to manipulate. But Stoic philosophy teaches that real power belongs to you. It is your ability to control your reaction, hold your values, and protect your inner peace. To protect yourself, remember 3 important principles. First, recognize the behavior and understand that their reminders reflect their unresolved pain and insecurity, not your fault. Second, stay calm and maintain integrity. Do not argue, do not try to explain, and do not try to prove you have changed. Your consistent actions will speak for your strength. Third, protect your boundaries and your peace. You do not need to keep a relationship with anyone who refuses to accept your present version. The past is only a chapter, not the whole story, and you are not bound by how others view it. Now it is time to apply what you have learned. Walk confidently, keep growing, and let the past remain a lesson instead of a chain. When you stay calm and maintain boundaries, the people who try to pull you back into your past will lose their power, and every subtle tactic becomes meaningless. If this video brought value to you, please like, share, and subscribe to continue receiving Stoic lessons that help you stay peaceful and in control. Comment and share your experience. Your story may help others understand and protect themselves. Walk forward in the strongest version of yourself and do not let the past or anyone pull you back.